We're talking Christian McCaffrey. We're talking Todd Gurley. And I'm going to throw it to my co-host, Mo, we're going to discuss Christian McCaffrey first. He was awesome on Monday night against the Falcons. But Cam Newton is not playing this week. Mo, I believe that's a step down. Do you believe that's a huge step down staying at home against the Falcons this weekend? How do you see the McCaffrey outlook for this weekend?
Okay, there's a lot to think about here. So first, I have in front of me the Fantasy Pros consensus running back rankings for Week 16, and Zeke Elliott is number 1, and Fantasy Pros has McCaffrey at 2 and Gurley at 3, which makes me wonder if this is pre-news of Cam Newton, right?
Definitely pre-news for sure.
Okay, so now let's say. So I know we're gonna get to Gurley because he's the other guy. Spoiler alert! But so before this Cam news, people that's what we were talking about. Is Gurley's ranked third behind McCaffrey? Now that Cam's hurt, I think. So who's gonna be quarterback then? Derek Anderson?
No, it's Heineke, isn't it his name? I think Chris Heineke, or I forget his first name.
Chris Wenke?
No, it's not Chris Wenke. But he might be
already 41 years old when he played, so he's probably like 58 now.
And Jesse Palmer's there too.
Yeah.
But I think his name is Heineke.
Okay, so just a guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Big Mullins 7.0.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So that's not good for the Panthers offense, I would think. However, Falcons on the road aren't as good a team as they were when they were at home playing Arizona last week. It's a divisional game. These teams care about it every time. I think McCaffrey, I think the idea would just be let's just feature McCaffrey and let him do it, and there's always a concern that he'd get hurt, but he's, knock on wood, because he's gone all season and he's held up. So he's been great. So I think, it's not good for the offense, but it's good for the workload, which means it's probably at the you might as well treat it the same.
If you're a Christian McCaffrey owner, don't you not feel great about this scenario? I would not. Obviously, I'd be starting him. He's a top 3 or top 4 RB this year in fantasy. But I wouldn't feel great, honestly, with Cam Newton out. Cam Newton, teams have to respect Cam Newton a little bit, even the ground game Cam Newton. So it might be easier for the Falcons to zone in and scheme against Christian McCaffrey. And I'm also a little worried that it's not that it's a super short week for the Panthers, but now that they're pretty much out of the playoff race, I feel like that's a team that would just kind of quit a little bit, maybe at least for the last week 6.
Yeah, I thought about that, except they don't want to lose to the Falcons at home, They
don't.
Maybe they come to Atlanta and they quit if it's week 16 and they're out of it, but at home, I don't think so. And when you have McCaffrey, and Carolina has every reason to believe that McCaffrey is the best player on the field if they just feature him like that, and they're not wrong to think that. I feel like that's really also, quarterbacking in 2018 is such that everyone can quarterbacks can step in and be okay, right? And Carolina's the kind of team where quarterbacks can definitely step in and be okay passing the ball because they have a collection of gadget wide receivers, it seems like, and they're going to lean on their running game and they're going to lean on defense, so he doesn't have to do much. So, guys like that can look good. What makes him more dangerous, what makes Cam special, Cam's not that much better a passer than that even, really. What makes Cam special is that he's a good enough passer to be a quarterback in the NFL, and he also runs the ball like he does, right? And so that's why I think that both that Carolina is ostensibly worse without Cam Newton playing, but also it's not hard for it just to be a McCaffrey game, And
yeah, I guess I think expectations need to be a little bit, though, because I see an elite game from Christian McCaffrey. I wouldn't pick him in DS. I wouldn't be DFS stud this week.
Yeah, but that's the difference between DFS. season long, you know. Oh, I'm sorry, Jeff. I didn't mean to talk over you.
I wouldn't put him on my DraftKings lineup this weekend. Like, I mean, ownership may be lower, but I just don't see. I see the Falcons zoning in on him a little bit, and I just don't see the output like he would normally have.
Yeah, you know, maybe. I just think though, and that's the difference between DFS and season long. Is like you're not just picking the best lineup every week for 16 weeks. You pick a team, right? And
yeah,
you know, McCaffrey, like not just McCaffrey's got you here, be loyal. It's not actually playing for you, so that has nothing to do with it. But what I mean though is like McCaffrey's been one of the best players in the league, right? And look, man, you're not going to be in the championship finals of your fantasy league without some butterflies in your stomach, you know? And it's like, and so the fact that Cam Newton's out and Carolina's out of it, that's a reason to have butterflies in your stomach, you know, or maybe that's not even the right expression. That means you're in love. You're just nervous, you know, whatever. You have acid in your stomach. You have acid reflux about the finals. This is what you have to be nervous about if you're a McCaffrey owner, but he's still McCaffrey. You've still had him all year. He's still been the guy who carried you to the final, and now the workload will be there for him. So, you know.
It will be there for him. I just have a feeling, and the Falcons are, I mean, this is before the Cam news, but the Falcons are 8-point underdogs on the road, obviously. I just have a feeling they're going to stack the box and make this quarterback try and beat them. And yeah. That's all. I mean, McCaffrey can, you know, still get the volume. He may get a few more looks in the passing game. But I wanted to steer over to Todd Gurley because there are fantasy owners who drafted him number 1 this year for season long, have gotten pretty good output. A little less so in the second half, but still elite top 5 output from Todd Gurley. We saw him being used a little differently in the second half last week because he had knee tendonitis. Mm-hmm. And if you are a fantasy owner of Todd Gurley, you're playing in the finals. Should you be concerned for 2 reasons? His health reasons, and if the Rams pull away, they may certainly sit him for a half or 3/4 of this game. What are your thoughts, Mo, as a Gurley owner? Are you a little nervous?
Of course I'm nervous. And like I said, man, this is you don't get to be in the final expecting and assuming you're going to win, right? And you know, but with Gurley, it's a little bit bigger than that. Gurley, I think, has been Gurley still. I don't worry about him. I haven't worried about him. It's more just the Rams as a whole. And until Gurley's this injury started to pop up, now I'm concerned. To be honest, because of the injury and because now it's more a matter of like if he's okay and if he doesn't get hurt playing or trying to go or anything like that, if the Rams got up really big and he didn't play the fourth quarter, then I would have to assume that he was a part of why they got up so big. So given the fact that he's hurt, now I'd be like, I'll take 3/4 of Todd Gurley, you know? And that's funny because part of the reason why I lost my matchup in the one league that I did is because Julio Jones got up and only played 3/4 and I didn't get any more points from Julio Jones. So maybe that'll come back to bite me. But like because he's hurt, I'm like, hey, man, I just want him to be okay, and I want him to play. And if he gets 120 yards and 2 touchdowns in 3/4, I'll take it. You know?
Yeah, that's best case scenario is that you're, like you said, there's a reason why the Rams are up. I guess worst case scenario is that Goff throws for a couple touchdowns, the defense maybe scores a touchdown, or I don't know, and Gurley just rests. I guess that's the worst case scenario, but –
you know, the thing that comforts me is the fact that I don't know if this is true or if this is something I imagine or if this is something that I want to be true, but I feel like Brandon Cooks is the kind of guy who gets tackled inside the 5 a lot. And I think Gurley's going to get a lot of touchdowns just for that. Even if it's like, let's have the receivers do all the heavy lifting, Goff will get him down the field and let's give Gurley a couple of touchdowns. Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, no, I guess. Look, I'm just playing off of what I'm seeing and reading right now. The Rams obviously want to be kind of cautious with Gurley going into the playoffs. Looks like they'll get a bye anyways, but if they did sit him, they're probably for week 17 anyways. So we will see. I mean, who's the backup? Is it Justin Davis? Is it John Kelly? Is it C.J. Anderson? I don't even know. But
so more importantly, if you were a really, really, really panicky type, right? If you were a really panicky type and you were Mr. Matchups and you were Mr. Hot Hand and Mr. just like treat your season long like it's DFS, there's a chance that you might have either of Todd Gurley or Christian McCaffrey and picked up
Nick Chubb.
a certain Nick Chubb. I mean, you're probably in the finals then because you have Gurley and Chubb, or what McCaffrey and Chubb, right? Let's say you have Chubb as your running back too. You're really, really concerned though about McCaffrey, or you're really concerned about Todd Gurley. But you also have Derrick Henry.
Well, look, Chubb, I know, is playing the Bengals. That's a great matchup. I have a feeling that they're going to win that game. I have a sneaky feeling that Chubb is going to have a monster game this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Or David Njoku.
He's been great.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's not a conversation you're really having. You're starting Todd Gurley, but man, yeah, you're thinking a lot more about it. Because Gurley has two reasons that he may not play that.
Yeah, the injury, I think, is the bigger thing. The fact that he's banged up and they don't necessarily need him in order to
beat the Cardinals.
That's the concern, right? But
they are 14-point favorites in this game.
So, okay. So let's bring it back to me. I have Todd Gurley, and I've spoken earlier about how, if my team's a contender, then at the trade deadline, I empty out my cupboard and I try to make my starting lineup as good as it can be. And I leave myself very little room for anyone to get hurt, right? So I don't really have anybody right now to replace Todd Gurley, except, although it's funny, I have Derrick Henry, right? I have Derrick Henry to go along with Alvin Kamara. Derrick Henry's my flex. So here's what I'm thinking of. Who I haven't had, who has been my flex all this time, was Kerryon Johnson. Is there any way you would so he would be who I would start instead of Todd Gurley?
Right.
There's no way I would do that, right?
Well, not against the Vikings this weekend if you're the Lions.
Right. So it's like, what are you gonna do? Like, the only way you do it is if you have Gurley and Chubb and Henry, then maybe you start Chubb and Henry.
I mean, I just feel like there's still no way you go into your finals with Todd Gurley sitting on your bench, your number one overall pick.
And I only don't have Nick Chubb because I traded him for Tyreek.
I think that was a good move. You got Tyreek Hill in that deal. So
yeah.
Okay. Well, dude, I wish you good luck. I guess you play Christian McCaffrey, you play Todd Gurley. You got to be a little bit cautious with both. But they've taken you this far, and hopefully they do not screw you in the end. That's all.
No, that's not fair, man. No, hold on. I did not sign up on that. They won't be screwing you. They got you to the finals. They've done all they can do.
Yeah.
Just hope for the best. You've done all you can do. Just hope for the best.
In better news, it looks like Melvin Gordon's going to be back this week.
Yeah. The accomplishment is getting here because you cannot control what happens this weekend. And you can't do anything about it the following week, right? So just getting here is literally, that's the accomplishment. So if you're in your finals, congratulations. You've done all you can do. I hope it works out for you, but I say this wanting to win. And I'm actually in two finals, and I really want to win both of them, right?
Players.
What's that?
Yeah, you play your best players and you put your fingers.
But look, I'm in the finals. I'm happy. I'm proud. I've had a good season. Nothing's going to take away from the season that I've had. You know what I mean? Winning or losing, that's the cherry on top. You know?
You don't play to win, you play to play. You
play to play. You play to play. And if you play well enough, often enough, you'll get to win, but it's not always fair. So don't do it looking for fairness. Do it because you got to the final. That was the accomplishment. That's the accomplishment. You did that. Did that.
Good luck. Good luck, buddy. Good luck to Gurley and McCaffrey owners, and we will see you at the next video.
Good luck to everybody. Good luck to all of us.